All right, ladies. So hopefully by now you've read my email kind of explaining our game plan between today and tomorrow. We will be completing our second source analysis of the semester and submitting that by the end of class tomorrow. This is a quick turnaround. I do typically like giving y'all 2 days. However, I think that with us using both class time today and tomorrow, this is more than fair. And I do think that we will be able to easily process and analyze these two sets of sources. So what I wanted to quickly do though, because we haven't been able to get into a lot of the notes, not that you have to be able to reference all of your notes or anything in your responses, that would not be required. You simply have to answer the questions, the 4 in total questions. But I do think there's a benefit to understanding the context of where the sources are coming from. And so we will have more developed screencasts later on this weekend that take us through both the Depression era and the New Deal efforts made by FDR's administration. But for today and tomorrow, for our source analysis, let me go over some really just quick concepts that will help you understand the context of when and how these sources were produced. So a few quick notes. We did discuss yesterday the launch of the Great Depression. We know the causes, we know when it began with the market crash. What we'll discuss later in great detail is that the Depression hits hard, and it hits people in a variety of areas, a variety of types of people. It affects people in the cities, it affects people on farms, in rural communities. A huge immediate problem within the Depression is high unemployment. But what's important to understand is, who's unemployed. It's an array of individuals. It's businessmen, store owners, local laborers, it's farmers, it's artists, teachers, professors, because some people aren't going to school. It just, a lot of people are affected, and it's such a wide hit range, okay? Also, it affects people's health. People are living in poor conditions. They're not able to take care of themselves, give themselves the proper care. People's mental healths are struggling. So it just hits hard, and it hits a lot of different types of people. And you kind of want to be able to understand the dynamics there, that it's not merely only affecting, workers, or only affecting farmers, or only affecting women, or only affecting the poor. It's affecting a wide range of people in a wide range of ways. Recall that Herbert Hoover was president at the time that the Depression hit. He really struggles with leading any sort of effective reform that would combat the ill effects of the Great Depression. This is really his own political, nature is to take the road more of what's called rugged individualism, where he feels like the people really shouldn't be dependent on the government to bail them out of their hardships, and that they kind of need to, pick themselves up by their bootstraps, if you will, if you've heard that saying, and improve their own circumstances through their own work and efforts. And that, the more the government would intervene in the economy, would be problematic for the structure of government we have in our economy and capitalism, in which the government is not supposed to overly intervene itself. That becomes really unpopular amongst the American people. That doesn't win him a lot of points. Now, I want to be clear. We'll discuss in class a few examples of things that Hoover does attempt to implement to address the ill effects of the Depression. But it's just kind of, it falls on deaf ears. It's just a little too late. Because of that, in 1932, even though Hoover's up for re-election and he's the incumbent, the Democrats will run up-and-comer and distant relative of Teddy Roosevelt, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, out of New York, as the Democratic candidate, who ran on a platform of providing more direct relief to the people. That became sweepingly popular of an idea, and he's elected easily in 1932. So then just a quick note on his plans to combat the Great Depression. FDR's massive package or plan to help improve and treat the unhealthy and sick American economy was called the New Deal. So the New Deal is not one thing. It's a wide range of agencies and programs and relief efforts that were put out by the Roosevelt administration. It's not like one law. It's like dozens of laws, okay? Dozens of committees, dozens of agencies and organizations, all designed to help people in different ways. Some programs were created to help farmers by helping them to stop their issue with overproduction. Some programs were created to protect money in bank accounts so that banks wouldn't collapse anymore, such as the FDIC. And then a lot of his programs rallied around trying to create job opportunity for Americans. And that's because so much of the problem of the Depression was unemployment. The WPA stands for the Works Progress Administration, and this is one of Roosevelt's largest New Deal agencies. It created countless jobs, more jobs than any other New Deal agency, in a huge range of fields and sectors of society. Teachers, construction workers, because buildings were built that the government was funding. Artists. You see, artists are heavily hindered within the Depression because that became, not really a needed or a commodity of a career. And so artists are starving, and those are musical performers, graphic artists. So there's just a wide range of jobs created through the WPA. And then what's kind of interesting is that whenever Roosevelt would advertise part of his Works Progress Administration or parts of his New Deal effort, he would hire artists to create posters and advertisements to kind of advertise for those specific agencies and programs. So he was kind of like killing two birds with one stone, if that makes sense. He like hire someone just to even market or advertise for a specific program. And then the relief, recovery, reform thing is just, those were the three goals of the New Deal. It's just a saying. Roosevelt's plan is very popular. I'm not going to say how effective it was, but it was super popular amongst Americans, which is why he's going to get reelected, spoiler alert, so many times. But he does have critics, and Herbert Hoover, having lost the election to him and having been the other party, is a big critic of Roosevelt. One of the sources is actually like Hoover's criticism of President Roosevelt and his New Deal packages and agencies. So one set of the sources, y'all, is going to be some posters, some graphic art, advertising, just different programs that are part of the New Deal. You have 2 questions to answer about those posters, and basically based on your interpretation of them, okay? That's why I feel comfortable, as long as you have this background, you don't really need to know specific detailed notes to answer the questions thoroughly. The second source is an address that Herbert Hoover made to the Republican National Convention. And so hopefully this little introduction helps those concepts to make sense. Again, I apologize I'm out today. It's not ideal, but we're working with it. We're rolling with the punches, and I'm here for questions, and I should be back tomorrow, so I'll be able to work with you on the source analysis tomorrow in class as well, and hopefully me giving you this 2 days of class time will be enough to get that done for the end of the day, Friday. I'm really going to say, actually, that the deadline for the sources can be even the end of the school day, because I know some of y'all have 6-hour lunch, and so y'all would have even more time to complete it, okay? Y'all have a good day. See you tomorrow.